everybody. Boy, it's a beautiful day today. You know, I thought it would be a great day to do some planting in my garden. Some of my favorite things like carrots and tomatoes and my all-time favorite peas. I bet you have some favorite things in your vegetable garden too. But you know what? I think it's probably a good time to take a little break. And I've got a great story for you today about a man who plants his garden, but it also is about some pesky rabbits too. So let's take a little break and go up to the porch and I'll read you the story. So my story today is Muncha 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 by Candace Fleming and G. Brian Kris. That's the illustrator. The publisher is Atheneum Publishing. And this one, like I told you, has our 3 pesky rabbits. For years, Mr. McGreely dreamed of planting a garden. He dreamed of getting his hands dirty, of growing yummy vegetables, and of gobbling them all up. But he never once tried it until this spring, said Mr. McGreely. This spring, by golly, I'm going to plant a garden. So he hoed and he sowed and he watched his garden grow. Lettuce, carrots, peas, tomatoes. Yum, yum, yummy, said Mr. McGreely. I'll soon fill my tummy with crisp, fresh veggies. But one night, the sun went down and the moon came up and 3 hungry bunnies appeared. Tippy, 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 pat. Muncha, muncha, muncha. The next morning, when Mr. McGreely saw his gnawed sprouts, he was angry. So he built a small wire fence around his vegetable garden. There, he declared, no bunny can get into my garden now. And the sun went down and the moon came up and tippy, 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 pat. Spring, hurdle, dash, dash, dash. Muncha, muncha, muncha. The next morning, when Mr. McGreely saw his nibbled leaves and gnawed sprouts, he was really angry. So he built a tall wooden wall behind the small wire fence all around his vegetable garden. He huffed. Those flop ears will never get over it. No bunny can get into my garden now. And the sun went down and the moon came up and tippy, 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 pat. Dig, scrabble, scratch, scratch, scratch. Spring, hurdle, dash, dash, dash. Muncha, muncha, muncha. The next morning, when Mr. McGreely saw his chewed stems, his nibbled leaves, and his gnawed sprouts, he was really, really angry. So he made a deep, wet trench outside the tall wooden wall, behind the small wire fence, all around his vegetable garden. Ha, he snorted, those pufftails can't get under it. They can't get over it. No bunny can get into my garden now. And the sun went down and the moon came up and tippy, 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 pat. Dive, paddle, splash, splash, splash. Dig, scrabble, scratch, scratch, scratch. Spring, hurdle, dash, dash, dash. Muncha, muncha, muncha. The next morning when Mr. McGreely saw his chomped blossoms, his chewed stems, his nibbled leaves, and his gnawed sprouts, he was furious. So he hammered and blocked, sawed and stalked, drilled and filled and trapped and locked, and he built a huge, enormous thing. Before the deep, wet trench, outside the tall wooden wall, behind the small wire fence, all around his vegetable garden. I've outsmarted those twitch whiskers for sure, he exclaimed. They can't get through it, they can't get under it, and they can't get over it. No bunny, no way, no how can get into my vegetable garden now. And the sun went down and the moon came up and tippy, 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 stop. The 3 hungry bunnies looked and smelled and touched the enormous thing before them and tippy, 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 pat, the bunnies hopped away. The next morning when Mr. McGreely saw his untouched vegetables, he was happy. I beat the bunnies, he whooped, and he did a jiggly wiggly victory dance. And then he climbed over, jumped across, squeezed between, and crawled under until he reached his vegetable garden. Ah, sighed Mr. McGreely, at last. and smacking his lips, he picked and pulled up lettuce, carrots, peas, tomatoes, and with his basket overflowing, he reached inside for something yummy. Muncha, muncha, muncha. They snuck in. So now he has to share. Well, I thought that you could do a little game, maybe. What I thought you could use are little cotton balls that look a little bit like bunny tails. And you can hide them around your yard or inside your house, just like an Easter egg hunt. And you can look for the bunny tails, have maybe mom or dad or brothers or sisters. Try and find those little bunny tails, like that one. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.